Tibetan government led by His Holiness the Great 14th Dalai Lama, followed by approximately 80,000 Tibetans into exile. This marks the darkest and most critical period in the history of Tibet, as we commemorate the Tibetan National
because they support there are also people who speak English and not Tibetan. So I don't have a lot to say. Mainly, we have demonstrated here for many years, since our children were little, and we will continue. So I'm glad to see. Nganzu's struggle, the intergenerational struggle. We can't forget. We can't afford to forget. This is very important. So please read it quite carefully. There's a lot in it. And what is interesting is also Tibetans, we're not only fighting for ourselves and for our dignity, it's also universal values. These days, when you look at the world and look at who are kind of person running things, then the values that we stand for and His Holiness stands for, this is so critical. So we're not only we are fighting for universal values, we're fighting for the higher order values, So this is very important. That's why we're lucky, I'm very fortunate we have His Holiness giving this kind of guidance, to us. And this is like a compass. So now about the Canada-Tibet Committee, it's not about us. We're a small advocacy organization. Their advocacy, their parliament channel, we want to push and influence Canadian policy. We're not asking for war. We're not asking for some kind of a terrible struggle. We're asking for support for our voices. Because this voice, this is stifled in Tibet. That's why we have to make our voice even 2 or 3 times more loud, and not just loud, but clear. So Thalo looks to Christmas time, just before Christmas, Xi Jinping sent us a present. Christmas gift now. What is the Christmas gift Xi Jinping gave us? He sanctioned us. Sanctioned us. That they always have my Perla, not Miss Me Kanga, Samotaya, Kataya, Kanga, but the Konjokarna. Then go to Chile, then meet David and Toileta, count to the Kerisha Chokmaris. They're trying to muzzle us here in Canada. They muzzled the Tibetans successfully. Can you think about that? Think about the arrogance. And as the economic might of China goes, they will become even more arrogant, which means we have to become more effective. And how do we become effective? We have to start to lobby our governments, and we have to be part of the political process. Then yes, the election worked. We are different people. We have different thoughts. So it's very important that you support the party of your conscience. Number 2, Ghana did not run us. हम किसी के गुलाम नहीं है, हम किसी के वोट बैंक नहीं है. वो चलता है वो दूसरी बात है. We are not a vote bank. We are independent democratic people, but encourage your MPs in the interaction. Ask just 2-3 questions about what will you do, how will you support our Tibetan cause. It doesn't matter, you don't have to be 10,000 to ask. One of the things that's very critical, we always ask here, we always ask, can you help us? Run us. We're coming to petition, but we're no longer petitioning. We're citizens. We're asking for rights of citizens to express ourselves. If you help an MP, even small things, you don't have to give money. Go and work on the campaign, put some signs, then you have the moral thing to engage with them. It's not about money. It's about engagement. I'm 75 years old. I've been doing this since I retired. This is the most important thing. When we engage in this parliament, and why parliament? Because the policies are made in parliament. It's important bureaucrats and government people to engage, but the policy, it's a democratic society. Policies are made here, and we can change here and influence. We want influence. It's not against Canada's interests. We are very much in the mainstream of Canadian values. Right now, our values as Canadians are coming under attack. So we also stand with this country now. When we sing the national anthem, it's also now us. And we're being threatened by all kinds of dire consequences. So we have a double role. So to strengthen our voice in policy and to also stand up for Canada. Because as His Holiness says, it's a democratic, humanistic, universal. So just one last thing, one of the last things. We're not just any people, honestly. Not just we are a civilizational people. That's why I always say, when the Chinese Communist Party say, you're one of 54 ethnic groups. No. We're a nation. And we're a nation with civilization. Long civilization. Never forget that. If you forget that, you'll become one of the 54. Then they'll just, manage us like that. So we have to have this in our heads. It's not just the himmat and all of that. Also this, who we are and what we have done historically. It's huge. And last of all, why am I wearing a black hat? Normally I don't wear black hat. But when they invaded us and were oppressing our people, including all of our families and people like my grandfather, my uncle, they called them Shamunao. What comes it down to? Shamunao. So I'm wearing proudly Shamunao. Because anything Communist Party of China says about us, I'm not going to bow down my head and agree. So Shamunako is because I disagree with their take on Tibet. I disagree on how they see us. We are not a small people and we are not a mean people. This is as important as the political thing. So, in closing, get on Narona, engage, again, from your different parties, and let's work together. We're a small group here, and now we have been gifted by Xi Jinping, so now we feel even more kasura. Samshud, after all, such a gift comes once in a lifetime, so we have to make sure the gift has some value. So
now! China out of Tibet now! China out of Tibet now! China out of Tibet now! Tibet belongs to Tibetans! Tibet belongs to Tibetans! Tibet belongs to Tibetans! Long live! That SFT gi gile kunsala ken nangi. Ani mo ke mata engela. I'm really proud of her. Mora lo shenshe tanda high school Lakeshore Collegiate, right? Parkdale. Okay, Parkdale labda gi tanda high school student jire. Morangi thona chin ni tanda SFT Toronto chapter na la juere. Thalongi Norman, is it your second year? First year, but still proud of her. nganzo shenge dinzo ya lango do ra younger generations dinzo kusala please SF ni sikjin suno
I'm from Students for a Free Tibet, Toronto. Today, on March 10th, we are reminded of the day in 1959 when Tibetans in Lhasa rose to the streets and rose up against Chinese occupation, knowing the risks, knowing the consequences, but refusing to ever be silenced. We are reminded that even more than 66 years that the fight still isn't over. For over 6 decades, China has tried to erase Tibet. They have stolen our land, rewritten our history, and attacked our very identity. They steal Tibetan children from their families and force them into colonial boarding schools designed to strip them of their language and of their culture. They demolish monasteries, imprison monks and nuns under the guise of progress and modernization. They criminalize the simple act of speaking Tibetan inside of Tibet. And yet, Tibetans inside of Tibet and in exile refuse to be erased. But Tibet is not just a Tibetan issue. This is a global issue. The same China that colonized Tibet is the same China surveilling and suppressing its own citizens, disappearing activists, torturing Uyghurs, and threatening Taiwan, expanding its authoritarian reach worldwide. To fight for Tibet is to fight for a world that does not bow down to dictatorship. A world where justice triumphs over tyranny. Right now, as I speak, Tibetans in Tibet are fighting alone. They're burning their bodies on fire. They're risking their lives just to speak Tibetan, just to teach Tibetan, just to pray in their own monasteries, just to exist as Tibetans. For over 60 years, China has tried to erase Tibet. But they have failed because Tibetans are still here. Because despite of everything, we still speak our language, we still practice our faith, we still preserve our culture, and we still resist their rule. And we will continue to resist their rule until the day Tibet is free. They can imprison our leaders, but they cannot imprison an entire people's dream. They can destroy our monasteries, but they can never destroy our faith. They can rewrite our history, but they can never erase the truth. Tibet was free before, and Tibet will be free again. This is not some dream in the distant future, it is our destiny. Pegelo! 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 Free Tibet! Free Tibet! Free Tibet! Free Tibet! Free Tibet! Free Tibet! Tuchinang.
Tuchina kunsala antanda de ngaranzogi degla switching sunan.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to hear young people speak up like that. It's so encouraging, and so many young people here today. And thari ning thaba ne number to chama dus pewa ta ring bu ne pe ne pewa di tuji dans shuya yi ta ngan Montreal chu ni tsre Ottawa la de shunya re na Toronto ne thari ngau shang ne chu shi nga tsu bas na pewa di tuja nas shuya yi. So I nga thari jonge zo che to inji na ne tsikashe ji shu cho che. So like Sampila says, we've been here for many, many years. Many of us here, Tsigelela, who just spoke on behalf of the community in Quebec, his parents were part of the first Tibetans that came to Canada. And I'm working on a book right now to document how Tibetans came to Canada for the first time over 55 years ago. And I spoke to 23 elders, spoke and told their stories, and we asked them, what's your hope for the next generation? And the same thing comes through, is that they don't forget Tibet, they don't forget Tibetan culture, and that they keep fighting for Tibetans inside Tibet. So I don't need to remind all of you here who are here because you embody that message. But I think that there's a lot of work to do in our community with your peers by setting a wonderful example. So I really want to congratulate you on taking that initiative and really showing up. This July is going to be His Holiness's 90th birthday. And I don't know how many of you watch videos where he gives teachings or gives speeches, but you can see that he's very frail gradually, and he's aging. His advanced age is starting to show. And I think for all of us, I think that when we think about him and all the work that he did since we came into exile, and how he kept us together as a nation, made us proud when we were all refugees, so that today when we say we're Tibetan, we can hold our head up high and we're proud of our heritage. And that's one man single-handedly who constantly reminded us that no matter the fact that we were forced into exile, that we stand proud because we represent, like Sampela said, a very old civilization that is very rich and that has a cultural heritage that can benefit the entire world. So today, every time we come March 10th, whether it's His Holiness's birthday, Losa, or religious holidays, I think that when we see our elders aging, His Holiness aging, we have to keep ourselves, how do we make sure that we keep their legacy alive? When we researched how Tibetans came to Canada for the first time, it was His Holiness making an appeal to the Canadian government. And it wasn't so that we would all have fancy houses and nice cars. It would be so that we would get educated and do exactly what we're doing today, is to keep showing up in front of the Chinese embassy and say, we are not forgetting, we are here. And when I was Kalon in Dharamsala, and we would have embassy in Geneva and everywhere around the world. In Geneva at the UN Human Rights Council, we were a very small team, but it was so annoying to the Chinese, and it keeps being annoying because we keep showing up. Whether we're 10, 20, 100, 1,000, we keep showing up for Tibetans inside Tibet. So, Pögalo, keep showing up. Pögalo.
아말레 비 개침을 삼기도 Sunday school 라 직당샤님인데 육샤 주고 말에 삼기도 되게 깡순이 깨게니 나 빈자 준주지네 니 빈자 부준주 니여 그란절리도 로 구다 로 나마시 말에 깨 탁다 게기래 니동 숨라도 벼보 그래요 말 납달라 상만 인지도 미리 나보래 단다다다 하이스쿨 라 직다나 박들 하이스쿨 라 벼보 거저래 난 하이스쿨 도저라 벼보 니게 숨가 둘렀어 단디 배워 보지는 게 정말 얘기입니다. 나이게 지금 정말 매. 네 당분 인디 쇼도 삼고도 안쪽이 오네. 개밀 내가 제야 등 안쪽이 낭조 지도. 오늘 레게다. 숨다 권다. 델랭에 딘절라 게게게 너무 책이 들어다 봐. 근데 니와들 갈래는 나도 대 정말 소박기도 열어. 소박기도 그룹 열어. 니 나니로이네. 소박 그룹 나라 셈팡해래. 나 가지 니만 니스니라 나라 카바플레스. 산이라 가르 숨주들이 요 말할랐습니다. 간주 기도는 제 땅 맞았어. 간주기 내가 지혜딩 간주 나와 직승이니 땅사래네. 다 중앙조 속속이 레마게는 간주 개체 요 말해네. 중앙조 파티준 뒤로나 속박 기도 속도나. 중앙조 상마 기도 그룹 집을 열어. 어디 속도를 뒤로나 가진 인포메이션 내고 말할래네. 기도 딘조라 숨주들은다 꿰배 개미 심조로 꿰배 지게라님인데 딘조기 세다 마치와 했나라. 디 기도도 개미 기도르다. 니 라이들랍 산이 소나미 산이 쉬는 속속이 가우다한테 기우다한 기도는 같이 고라 말해 내일에도 값을 롱마 메일은 내줘라 캐나다 불라 나도 롱마 요는 내줘라 말아 장마 톱다 메일은 내고라 디 대식 삼로다에 레상구도 라 땅에 계좌 실험 마셔고 근데 Nishik Session, microphone is to Mare. Shambaji Karina Ra Kichik. February 13th, Sembala Sharona. February 13th, Hamagung Pupe Mamud pushing. February 14th, Law them in the Valentine Gum Digdo. Locha Churu Valentine. February 13th, condition how go Mare. Churazo Hamagon Pamal Kazeti, Pama Kaza Lamaton and Hal Devachurana. Shingit Sangmala. Ra. Shambajik, May 17th. May 17th, Kare. April 25 Kare. Benji Rumuchi, Tunga Sangma Kiuda. Kiudangjo to say Sangma Haguda. May 17th, the Kitchen Kajin Lanara. Gyor Rumuchi, Kurin Chopsi Gi. Benji Rumuchi, Mozi Chiwa, the Nimasum Jala Hachire. Tanda the kid of the free pension Lamalani there. Kidnap Chira, the Tikari to show and Arma Kaja Shawana. Tinzo to Z into tasting Nanzuki Sambal and Yago do some good. Mune Laviata. 10 March Lera, Shuji me barmin there. Mashi may share some given do. Someday that and the Trondola, Peba, Chikdong Abga Mashilema Solas, Marda, Grubdala, Chikdong Abga Wowlas, Kari Wow, Kari Wow Lord, Trondola Mikazur. Mune Shamdera, Chikdong Abga and Kari Wow. Takba Chikdong Abga Chikdong Yaga, didn't allow to have Chairman, correct. Ottawa me Yomar Shidaling. Dichran to Munichik Larona, Minde, Sunny Sunum be laid to love, Ra. Yeg laid to love, Muni Lagate, tasting some of the race some good Minde. Gammy Levat into some Manzorang Chig to da. Chiran to see her, Ra. Coop you had to say them in there. To say a young Yakbor. Takba Coop you done Yapo Yomar, Goshe lady. To say Tagay Yugor, Munelanda. Yaromachang on to see you are. Yaromachang on to Tigora. Yaromachang. The case of the Shazam again, the church of Tongra. Tony Shira, Duomara, Shashi, Duomara. Karda Chirda, you ship. Somebody another, this chick. Transo, Gonda, the Chenzo Gig, Dochidra. Transo Pala Rochi, Robert in Zol, Momso Rochi Lemena. Lega doing and yet in Zora, one time, some Judilla, Lega doing another Mune Shamderda. The Leganicha Gomba Raiminduna, Dinimo Dojo de Rashin, de Garona, Mune, Sopala, Manzo Sopa Samala. This is Pebaina, Rob Motam in Ganzo doina in there. Me monks a dead dwa, Gaja Gala in there. 10 Mars the Katina Gongse Imber, supervising Tamuran later. Oh, Tesla, do you pay the Honda? Just come forward, you. Or do you pay? Do you pay? Does you want to Mara? Mara? Oh, go on again, notion. Shabala. Okay, so kind of mina. Thank you, Chita Masha Minda. One of the Kachu Tangi doses, Ra, and a Kuch Transola came, Ra, Gaza Zamzam, Sangma Machine Demon, the politician as Sangma getting you bushedana. What the hell? Mare. This is Kaja Munishi, go that straightforward, Munelageta. This is Semdo Magana Yungumindu. Okay, the Yelaju depend over like me, but at least taste the Chaguedo, Ra. Tanganzo go to any. Pegel the Pandirona, Ra, and do you like Gesla Pen and Kushla? Manzo Degum Chishigandugi, Gesla Pere, Pemilins Pere, SFT Layer, City of Petu Maso, and Sanishan Island Shay. Okay, Gesla dinner pedra, Manzo go to show.
Free Tibet! Free Tibet! Free Tibet! Free Tibet! Long live! Long live! Learning Tibetan is not a crime. Learning Tibetan. Learning Tibetan. Stop the genocide. Stop the genocide. Stop the torture. Stop the torture. United Nations, we want justice. United Nations.
We want justice.
China is guilty. Guilty of genocide. China is guilty.
Guilty of genocide.
China out of Tibet now. China out of Tibet now. China out of Tibet now. China lies. China
In Tibet.
Stop the genocide.
In Tibet.
Stop the mining.
In Tibet.
Stop the killing.
In Tibet.
Stop the mining.
In Tibet.
Stop the genocide.
In Tibet.
Stop the killing.
In Tibet. In Tibet.
Genocide.
In Tibet.
Stop the genocide. Stop the mining.
In Tibet. Yes, go. Only go. We'll see it. Come. In Tibet.
Learning Tibetan is not a crime. Learning Tibetan is not a crime. Learning Tibetan is not a crime. No human rights in Tibet. No human rights in Tibet. No religious freedom in Tibet. No religious freedom in Tibet. China is guilty. China is guilty. Guilty of genocide. China is guilty.
Guilty of genocide.
China is guilty.
Guilty of genocide.
World leaders unite for Tibet. World leaders.
Unite for Tibet.
World leaders.
Unite for Tibet.
United Nations. We want justice. United Nations.
We want justice.
United Nations.
We want justice.
Tibetans are dying. How many lives? Tibetans are dying.
How many lives?
Tibetans are dying.
How many lives?
Tibetans are dying. In Tibet. Tibetans united. Will not be defeated. Tibetans united. We will not be defeated. Tibetans united.
不是，不是说了 back to the wonderland 的，我不是懂的。
Stop the killing! Stop the mining! Stop the genocide! Stop the killing! Stop the mining!
Torture. In Tibet. Stop the genocide.
In Tibet.
Stop the genocide.
In Tibet.
Stop the mining. In Tibet. Stop the mining. In Tibet. No human rights. In Tibet. No human rights. In Tibet. No religious freedom. In Tibet. No religious freedom. In Tibet. Release the Bachin Lama now. 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 Tibet was never
Part of China.
Tibet was never
Part of China.
Tibetans united will never be defeated. Tibetans united will
never be defeated.
Tibetans united
We'll never be defeated.
World leaders, it's always Tibet. World leaders, it's always Tibet. World leaders,
Unite for Tibet!
what do we want?
We want freedom.
What do we want?
We want freedom.
When do we want it?
No, no.
When do we want it?
No, no.
China is guilty.
Guilty of genocide.
China is guilty.
guilty of genocide.
Learning Tibetan is not a crime. Learning Tibetan is not a crime. Learning Tibetan is not a crime. Yamar Pene. Yamar Pene. Long live. Long live. Pegalo. Pegalo. Peki Dakpo. Peki Dakpo. China out of Tibet now. China out of Tibet now. China out of Tibet now. China lies. China lies. China, China, China. China, China, China. When? When? Free Tibet. Free Tibet. China out. Free Tibet. Free Tibet. Yamar Pene. Yamar Pene. Long live. Long live. Tibet was never. Tibet was never.
아주 선생님이 보고 있어. 게임에 야구 리치다. 그냥 야구지. 단지 생계 저한테 지게 주문하라. 저한테 맞아서 쉬어라. 리치는 거라. You need more young kids to play tennis.
Stop the killing! Stop the mining! Stop the genocide! China, China, China! Win, win, win! China, China, China! Win, win, win!
Stop the killing! Stop the mining! Stop the genocide! Stop the killing! No human rights! No religious freedom! No human rights! No religious freedom! Stop the killing! Tibet belongs to! Tibet belongs to! Pegi Dapu! Yamar Peni! Long live! Long live! Long live! Long live! Long live! Pegi Dapu! Pegi Dapu! Pegi Dapu! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Stop the killing! Stop the mining! Stop the genocide! Free Tibet!
Killing! Stop genocide! Stop genocide! Stop mining! Stop mining! Stop building dams! Stop building dams! Free Tibet! Free Tibet! Hello media! Hello media! Big yellow! Big yellow! Biggie Doggo! Biggie Doggo! Canada! Canada! United Nations, stand up for Tibet! United Nations! Stand up for Tibet! United Nations! Stand up for Tibet! Canada! Stand up for Tibet! Canada! Stand up for Tibet! Learning Tibetan! Learning Tibetan! China out! We will! No religious freedom! No religious freedom! No human rights! No human rights! Release the political prisoners now! Release the political prisoners now! Release the pension lama now! Release the pension lama now! Shame on CCP! Shame on CCP! The world is watching! Shame on CCP! Shame on CCP! Tibet belongs to! Tibet belongs to! Tibet belongs to! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up!
What do we want?
We want freedom!
What do we want?
We want freedom!
When do we want it? When do we want it? Who is the dictator? Who is the dictator? Who is the dictator? Stand with
Canada! CCP! China is guilty! China out of Tibet now! China out of Tibet now! China out of Tibet now! China lies! China, China, China! Win, win, win! Free Tibet! Free Tibetan! Free of speech! Long live! Long live! Long live! Long live!
안 트론도네 페와 미만 상마 소박하게 조미다 믹스기 데 선이선함 주는 소도 genki와데 투지체 쉐에 캐나다 페들린도 탑시지 안 다나싱 안도 아로와 그리지도 쪽바 게 귤레 쪽도 미만 넘버 상마 투지체 쉐에 페와데 대충부 되는 게 뒤가 대충부지 이제 아는 알아서 TCAQ 큐벡 그리지도 쪽바게 저거 귤레 아니 미망나바 상마데 로다르시 페어데 투지제 쉐에 캐나다 페돌린도 탑시제 아니 나라즈데 로다르시 쳔바치는 맞아요세데 아로와게 페던 겹겨 겹어와 Carla Watt and family la 페버 상마 탑시제 투지제 쉐에 Thank you Carla and family yeah 너무 저 도난 중에는 다른데 견나 흉잡 추주 중에 제일 고자서 예사 사다와로 이네 그런 때 아주 팁스라 그런 거 자샤스요. 아주 이네 캐나다 넘버즈 킹게데 캐나다 페달에서 예자 야나게 녀 땅 차즈레 아주 괜히 심시 참여셔. 그래서 아니 Free Tibet.
Tisina ani danda delegore kaba marda begor Ottawa dengi miss den kona nyin kaba ni tujena ji shwe so munela laura sina darwa miri shemar de gyalto the Canadian da kira. Thank you for you too, all the non-Tibetan people over here coming down. I want to say thanks a lot, right? Ani